There's a good probability that silver's price could rise above my forecast of $36 an ounce by the end of the year. But it gets even better. It could go above $40 by this summer. I'm going to tell you why in this video as we explore. That's a very bold prediction, but nonetheless, it is quite possible. Usually in the summer months, we call them the doldrums because the prices don't move a whole lot. But there's one analyst, Bob Habercorn, who believes in the upside in silver. And he believes that even though the gold to silver ratio will unlikely return to its historic mean anytime soon, it is a real possibility that gold could lift up silver more than it has already. Now we know the gold to silver ratio is trading about 100 to 1 at this moment in time, but with gold coming very close to $3,500 an ounce, with talk of it going up to $5,000, that was crazy talk about a year ago, he says, but it's definitely a possibility now. That alone could bring silver higher. And he feels that silver is undervalued in relation to gold and what's going on. He believes that silver prices are poised to gain about 40% or more in the medium term. A realistic target for silver is probably closer to $50 at some point by the end of the year. And he thinks the move is going to happen sooner than later. I think you're going to see a move in the short term to $40 and $50 by September. And even if the gold to silver ratio doesn't return to its long-term historic average in the 60s, Habercorn believes it could still outperform gold the way it has in the past. You wake up one morning and it's up $3. We have seen something like that occur at least a couple of times, not quite $3 in one day, but we've seen it move above $2, and then it continues to run. But realistically, silver getting to $40 is not that crazy of an idea, and it could happen between now and the middle of the summer. That's still a very bold prediction, but I'm going to tell you why I believe him, because it's not just about gold that could move it up, because you've heard me talk on this channel many times about silver following gold and also how it has a dual role. It is, number one, a precious metal, but it is even more importantly as an industrial metal. And so it trades along with other commodities, and usually they push against each other. It's a tug of war. But not now, because there's one metal that I think could lift silver up, and that metal is copper. Copper, that's right. I believe copper might be the answer to silver's price rising for a couple of different reasons here I'm going to get into, because it is remarkable what's happening in the world of copper right now. A member of the community sent me an article here with the headline, Copper Crunch. China faces supply shock as U.S. tariffs disrupt global metals trade. And we know copper has been trading at very high and almost at record numbers here per pound recently, at one time hitting $5 per pound. And we could see the copper shock happen. There is an extremely important topic, that's how the United States of America is currently making sure that its national security isn't compromised. And there are many moving parts from trade to the dollar. Copper is a bedrock of the economy in terms of the industrial uses all around. The U.S. will find it hard to compete with China. That's why President Trump has signed several historic executive orders to protect copper production and mining on U.S. soil. Copper is often called the new oil, as it's the heart of America's future, especially since copper is not only coupled with silver, but also with gold. Copper demand is surging, with supply struggles to keep pace. I'm pretty bullish on copper production. Here's where basic and common sense supply and demand come into this. Copper mine production is expected to peak in 2026 with a projected 700,000 ton deficit in 2025 alone. Underinvestment in new mines has created a supply crunch. The U.S. trade war has disrupted global copper supply chains. China, which controls 50% of global smelting, faces export challenges. Trump's investigation into copper imports aimed at bolstering national security is the leading edge in a worldwide revolution in mining. So we've got to grasp the scope of the opportunity that copper mining has for us on U.S. soil, which is precisely what the administration thinks about copper. Howard Lutnick says the American industries depend on copper and it should be made in America. No exemptions and no exceptions. Donald Trump has said, I have imposed a 25% tariff on foreign aluminum, copper, lumber, and steel because if we don't have it, we don't have a military, and frankly, we just won't have a country very long. He also said that copper could be made in America. It's time to come home because the world is hungry for copper, which leads me to the sponsor of today's video is Giant Mining. They own and operate a copper, silver, gold project in Nevada. It has also recorded the best ever drill intercepts in September of last year. The company is the only copper company that I am bullish on right now. On February the 14th, 2025, Donald Trump signed Executive Order 14213, ensuring security and reliable supplies of critical minerals. For U.S.-based copper companies like Giant Mining, this executive order represents a significant tailwind. By promoting domestic mineral production and reducing reliance on imports, particularly from the geopolitically sensitive regions, the policy enhances the strategic value of American copper assets. Nevada, where Giant Mining's copper project is situated, has constantly ranked among the top mining jurisdictions in the world, which is why I'm bringing this company to your attention. Giant Mining's balance sheet is now fully funded for its drilling programs in 2025. Giant Mining is well positioned to accelerate its exploration efforts and potentially capitalize on emerging copper market opportunities. This is great news. The share price is down by 50% since early February due to market turmoil, so I'm highlighting the company to you today for a reason. And Giant Mining, with again the ticker symbol BFGFF, owns the Majuba Hill Copper Project, which was a past-producing mine. In the past 4 years, management and the company's geologists have actually expanded the copper deposit, and this past September, Giant Mining hit their best-ever drill hole. Majuba Hill is a polyphore copper-silver-gold project with a rich mining history. Historic underground operations produce copper, silver, gold, lead, zinc, and minor tin from the early 1900s to the 1950s. So check this out. 2.8 million pounds of copper, 184,000 ounces of silver, 885,800 pounds of lead, 106,000 pounds of zinc, 21,000 pounds of tin, and 5,800 ounces of gold. The factors below are exactly why I hold a strong outlook for Giant Mining Corporation. If we have the Majuba Hill project benefits from abundant infrastructure both on site and in the surrounding area, ensuring streamlined development and operational efficiency. The region is mining friendly with key infrastructure already in place to support near-term advancement. The infrastructure is ready. Access roads, well-maintained routes for easy site entry and logistics, power supply, which is reliable and scalable energy resources nearby, transportation, proximity to highways and rail for efficient material movement, the water supply, which establishes sources to support processing and operational needs, the ore processing facilities, which are designated areas to secure material handling, processing space, access to nearby processing infrastructure reduces capex, waste management space, allocated zones for responsible environmental management, administration facilities for on-site amenities and operational management, offices, communications, and safety, which fully support with modern communication safety protocols and administrative offices. So companies like Giant Mining operating within the U.S. stand to benefit from streamlined permitting processes, potential federal support, and increased demand driven by government-backed infrastructure and energy initiatives. Positioned in Nevada, a top-tier mining jurisdiction, Giant Mining is uniquely aligned to capitalize on the national push for resource security and supply chain independence. So do your homework on Giant Mining, ticker symbol BFGFF. And so copper very well could be the secret, coupled with gold, to send silver prices moving northward. And if we see some of these things, actions take place and happen in the coming weeks, we very likely could see silver's price reach $40 plus by summer. And I think by now, we're seeing that dual nature of silver finally would work in its favor if we're going to see $40 silver make its way into the world of bullish silver, finally getting there. Now, again, that really does involve a lot of parts moving in tandem together, and with the industrial and the precious side of silver being swayed and pulled in one direction instead of pulling in two opposite directions. So that is quite a possibility. Notwithstanding, that's just the opinion of Bob Habercorn, and my opinion too, as how it could be possible. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. We've been disappointed many times on silver in the past in terms of its performance. So, but I'm still overall bullish. I still think we're going to see 36 by the end of the year. But that's just, again, my opinion. Let me know what your thoughts about silver. Do you think it's going to get to that magical $40 an ounce by the summer? Or do you think we'll even see $36 by the end of the year? It could go either way. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.